Hey, I'm Mark with Connected Tenkara. I thought I'd open my bag up and show you what I take as a minimal kit on the river. There might be a couple of things in here that are extra, but I thought I'd just pull it out and show you what I got. Right on the outside, if I'm going to be anywhere where there's no reception, I've got my inReach device just for safety and for my wife's peace of mind and mine as well. Like if I were stranded out here, it'd be helpful to be able to communicate in some way. I have tippet, and minimum I would need one, of course, but I've got three here. I have a 6X, a 5X, and a 4.5X. I could probably get by on the 6X and the 4.5X with any kind of fishing that I do, though. In fact, I think I'm out of the 5X right now. A pair of Forceps, which I use seldomly to remove a hook, but more often to tie knots. Super helpful. And that's on a retracting line, as are my nippers. Have a pair of nippers also on a retracting line. And these guys have a little needle, which could be used to clear any goop out of a hook. Generally speaking, I don't use flies that have coating of any kind on them, but occasionally I do with maybe a perdigon or something, although I haven't fished with a perdigon in months. And we're midway through the winter right now, which is prime perdigon season. But anyway, they're there. On the other side, I have tied to it a cork, which I use to put a fly on there if I'm switching out flies and I don't want them to get the rest of my kit wet. On the back pocket, and I should probably say that this is a Gossamer gear pack, which is designed to fit onto a shoulder strap for ultralight backpackers. But I spotted it when I was looking for a kit, and I thought I'm going to try it out. It's cheaper than some of the other options. One thing that I found so far is that the stitchings coming undone on the top could just be a bit of a little oversight. But anyway, I have a lot of Gossamer gear equipment and I've never had an issue, but except for that. On the back, in the pocket, I've got a fly box, which has mostly nymphs in it. And I threw a streamer in there that I had built or made, but I don't really tend to fish with streamers. I have a whistle, which fox whistle, very loud. If I was ever in the river and stuck and a boat was passing by or a person or whatever else, even if there isn't anybody, I could still blow it. 3 blasts is an international distress signal. It's much louder than I could ever yell, so that's in there for safety. Also communication, a single sharp blast would just be, hey, excuse me, albeit a bit annoying. I have a couple of fly boxes, which it's not necessary to have more than one extra one in here, but I've got them. This has a couple of large flies. I made a couple of flies on rather large hooks, like a size 6, I think, sort of like an oni style. And then there are also a couple of nymphs that I picked up at a local fly shop here just to try them out. The other fly box I have, this is the general fly box that I would use if I was going out minimal, and particularly in the summer. I have these egg patterns here, but I never use them. I just never have taken them out. I've tried them last season. And then I have a bunch of kabari style flies. I have some streamers, which I don't tend to have luck on. I just don't know how to streamer fish. I have a section with some nymphs as well, I believe. So that's the other fly box. I should probably mention glasses. It's important to have polarizing sunglasses. These are actually bifocal polarizing sunglasses. They're polarized, and then on the bottom part they have a 2.5 times magnification, because I'm 48 right now and my vision's starting, or has been going, so it's hard for me to tie flies, so it's nice to have the extra magnification. In addition to the fly boxes, I have an extra spool of tippet. just in case I run out, or for some reason I have taken off my tippet and I forgot to put it back on. I always have an extra spool of tippet. I believe this is 5X. Kind of covers the bases. More than you need in many situations, but can handle most situations as well. In addition to that, I have a spare spool. So if I ever show up at a fishing spot, which has happened, I don't have any spools. And that was before I started carrying an extra spool. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to do some observing. Maybe I could watch a fisherman or see if I could spot some fish, but I'm not fishing today. Especially if I have to drive an hour. Like today I had to drive 40 minutes to get to here. But I've got an extra spool and I have line on either side of it. On one side I've got 240 length, I believe. And on the other I have a 360 length. So I could do some tight line with the 240. I could even do it with a 12. And if I need extra reach, I could tie them together. So I have that in addition to a few extra flies. I've got some Lillian in here, which has bailed me out before. I have lost the Lillian on the end of a rod and was able to get new Lillian back on and keep fishing. So that's important. I'm using the heat method, which many people advise against, but it works. I have some water tabs. This bag could be used to hold water. Put a tab in there. This a quart Ziploc bag will hold a liter. One of these tabs, you stick it in there, let it sit for half an hour or so. You've got drinking water. It's one option for drinking water if you're stranded. In addition to the Lillian water and line and this little kit, I have a little miniature knife. It's my favorite knife company from France. They're Opinel knives. This one not so much in particular, but I have quite a few of their knives, including a fillet knife, which I love, size 15. This, I believe, is a size 2, and I think their measurements are based on centimeters, give or take. So this is a knife, it's about 2 centimeters. I believe either 4 or 5 centimeters where they start to have a locking mechanism. So they actually lock in place. You could close it and then they lock closed as well. But wooden handles, so they're not ideal because if they get wet, they could swell. But I just love these knives. They, especially the ones with a carbon blade, although it could rust, but if you keep it oiled, that's fine. And a Ferrocerium rod. A Ferrocerium rod is probably the best way of carrying fire if you need to start a fire. And maybe someday I'll do a demo on this, but super simple. Just kidding, it's not super simple at all. There we go. Getting a spark. So if you have Tinder, dry Tinder, and a spark, you could start a fire in most situations, although I have been in a situation where I couldn't start a fire even with a lighter in the rainforest. Okay, I'm not going to pull it out, but in here I also have some cotton balls that are soaked in Vaseline, which I use as tinder. All right, so that's that. We'll put that together later. Got a couple of more things in here. Actually, I have one more fly box, which I don't really necessarily need in here. Oh, this has some extra nymphs, because I have taken this fly box off and left it at home and not had any nymphs. And especially in the winter, I love to have nymphs. Another water source, this is just a life straw. They have they've got a small, I can't remember the size of this one, but it's the smallest size they have. I haven't used it yet. I have used filters like this. I use them for backpacking, particularly the ones that are in the bottle, like the Be Free. I like Solomon's bottles. They've got some excellent bottles that actually have a better flow rate than the Be Free I found. Better than the Sawyer in my opinion as well. But I like this for my kit, for minimal kit, because it's super small, slides in any kit, and if I'm, really thirsty, I just unscrew this. I could push water through into a bottle, or I could just put it right up to the water and drink right out of the water. So it's the smallest filter that I could consider that's actually useful and gets out enough of the pathogens. So that's my kit. other than a hat, my glasses, and a rod. So today I'm fishing just the river. So I brought a couple of bigger rods. I have the Nissan Air Stage 64410, which is it's a little over 4 meters. I guess that would translate to about 13 and a half feet, give or take. And this has surprising backbone. Earlier in this area, I caught a 16-inch fish, had no trouble bringing it to shore at all. Less than 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, maybe, I don't know. And then I also have this Nissan Zero Sum. I'm not, I don't have any affiliate relationships with any brands, but these are just things that I've used on, that are working for me so far. But again, this is a Zero Sum 7.3 450 rod, just for a little extra reach. And I've actually caught a 19-inch fish on this. The first time I caught a big fish was on this rod, 19 inches. And on top of that, it was a snag hooked fish. If you have ever snag hooked a fish, it feels like you're fighting a fish that's much larger than it actually is. So I have a lot of faith in these rods to be able to pull in whatever I could catch out. Although in this water behind me, people do catch very large fish in the 20-inch range and even up to 30 inches. So it is possible, but that's why I have lighter tippet. If I ever hook into a giant fish, I'm going to do my best to bring it in, but the tippet will hopefully break before the rod does. I bring 2 rods just in case a rod breaks. Important to have backup in my mind. It's not necessary, and in the summer sometimes I'll go with half of this equipment. But for the river, especially remote areas, this is my minimal what I'm carrying, in addition to some extra spools of line. And I don't always, but sometimes I'll bring my net like I have behind me right now. All right. I'd love to hear about what kind of kit any of you all carry out onto the water, or if what I have has inspired you in any way. I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment down below. See you out on the water.